You tend to have two sorts of people asking this question. So you might have someone who is asking you this to humiliate you and sort of show you like it's a score mark. You know, I'm going to ask the most difficult question possible, and you're going to find it really hard to answer, and so I win, sort of thing. With that sort of person, I would actually just sort of say, can we put that to the side for a moment? Do you agree with me on all other cases? They'll presumably say no. So you say, let's talk about everything else first, because if you don't agree with me there, you're never going to agree with me here. If someone is asking you and they genuinely want to know, which hopefully is most people, I mean, first of all, there's the most heinous thing that could happen to someone, that they are raped. And it needs to be completely clear that it is in no way that person's fault. But, you know, given all that we've said about this is another human being with a life of value, because of the crime of a despicable person, it does not give someone the right to take away the life of that other person. Yeah.
I have very little to add to that. All the moral reasoning that we've set out would say that to kill another innocent human being is never justifiable. There is literally no circumstance in which you can kill an innocent human being. The right to life is an absolute right. It doesn't admit of exceptions. As long as this is an innocent human being we're talking about, an inborn child is, by definition, an innocent human being, there is literally no case that can justify the killing of that child. Now, I think the best person to talk about this is not me. I think the best person to talk about this is Rebecca Kiesling. Rebecca Kiesling is a woman from the United States. She was conceived in sexual assault and sexual crime. And she would say, she found out about this later, and she realised that if you allow for abortion for sexual crime, then you're saying she shouldn't be alive today. And there are lots of people who have either been conceived in sexual crime or have conceived in sexual crime who would say much the same thing. So I'd simply go to Rebecca Kiesling, go to her website, look at those stories, and I think that they provide the best example.
If you give the equivalent value to the life of the embryo that you give to the dignity and the life of the woman, then you absolutely have to say that there is nothing about the circumstances of conception that mean that you can end the life of that embryo. It means that if you're standing in front of a burning hospital, to use the example that's used in one particular analogy, and you have the choice between grabbing a Petri dish of embryos from the freezer or saving the life of an old person who's on the ward, then presumably you're going to grab the embryos in the freezer because the multiple benefit to humanity is going to be more. I don't think many of us think like that, and I think that when we weigh up ending of a pregnancy, we think about the dignity of the woman who's involved, and we weigh up the biological life of something that does not even know that it is alive against the experience and the emotional impact on the woman who will have to carry that through pregnancy and have that baby.
If this woman was conceived in a rape, hadn't been born, she wouldn't be here to value. So that her life is valuable only because she was born in the first place. If she hadn't been born, she wouldn't be here to value their own life. So there is no loss. No more significant loss in the world if someone is not brought into existence. So I think that's not a good argument.